This is the DJI FPV drone, and it's absolutely the best thing that has ever happened to this hobby. And you know what? I'm not so sure that I even like flying this drone. What am I talking about? Stay tuned. This drone is going to make the hobby better. The technology that is inside of this thing is phenomenal. And let me start by talking about some of the safety features that come with this drone. I was just outside flying, and as I was flying, it told me that there was an airplane approaching, or an aircraft. Now, I couldn't hear it, so I brought the drone down, and by the time that I did, I could hear that plane approaching. Now, it wasn't anywhere near me. I wasn't really going to be in danger, but it is good to know because you'd never know. That is awesome. So you get ADS-B notifications if there are aircraft in your area, and that is a fantastic thing. Okay, another really awesome feature on this thing is the brake button. Say you're flying, you get disoriented, it's upside down, you're just learning acro, you don't know what to do. You push a button and the drone stops. It comes to a halt. It hovers. It stays in place. You got a scratch that you need to itch. You need to just kind of compose yourself and take a minute. You can do that with this drone. Good luck doing that with any other FPV quad that you already have. It's going to fall out of the sky. It's going to crash. You don't have that freedom that you do with this quad. Then there are the sensors. There are sensors all over this thing. Now, they're called obstacle avoidance sensors, and they're really not going to help you avoid anything, but they do tell you when obstacles are in the way. They go from orange to red if they're getting close, and that's kind of nice to know. Now, some people say, oh, you shouldn't be flying with obstacle avoidance. It's going to make you a worse pilot, but it's not avoiding them from you. It's just helping you out, and that is spectacular. Now, this thing has GPS, and GPS on an FPV drone isn't a new thing. I got plenty of quads that have GPS, and they can even return home, but there isn't a single one that is half as reliable as this. I've had this thing return home, and it's landing within a meter of where I took off. That's awesome. Plus, it has incredible stability. Yes, I can fly this similar to a typical FPV quad, but it also flies a whole lot like a Mavic if that's what I want it to do, right? And speaking of flying like a Mavic, this has a gimbal, a one-axis gimbal, so I can get different shots with this drone than I can't with any of my other quads. I can control this gimbal, the gimbal angle. I can move it up or down while I'm flying on the ground, and that is just really pretty awesome. Okay, so let's talk about this battery. This is a 6S battery. You can get up to 20 minutes of flight time. Now, it kind of depends on what way you're flying. If you're really ripping this thing, you're going to get 10, 11 minutes, but slow cruising, you're going to get 15, 16, 17, up to 20 minutes. Good luck getting 11 minutes ripping on a standard FPV quad. Plus, it's a smart battery. I feel a whole lot safer charging one of these things. LiPo batteries are dangerous, right? And if you know anybody that's been in the hobby for a while, they've experienced LiPo fires. So, you get a little bit of assurance. Now, I certainly wouldn't charge this thing and leave it unattended, but you do have a little bit of DJI smarts inside of this intelligent flight battery. Now, it's going to cost you $150, so that's not great, but the technology here is really tuned to this drone, so you get the best flight time and flight performance. All right, so now these propellers, this is a game changer right here. This is something that manufacturers need to start making right now, tomorrow, right? If you haven't already seen these, they don't need tools. Now, I can do this with my Mavic. I've been able to quick change my props, but I don't break props on my Mavic. I break them on my FPV quads all the time because I crash. And I gotta go into my tool set and pull out my wrench, and I gotta loosen the nut, take the prop off, put a new prop on, tighten it up. It's a process, right? It's not a process anymore. This needs to happen on drones now. So let's get to it. Plus, this prop is a little bit different. It's a 5.3-inch prop. It's a little bit bigger. It's actually also a little bit stiffer. So I think that helps, again, with some of that flight time and some of those flight characteristics that we're getting. Another really neat thing in the flight experience, now while I'm flying this thing, in the goggles, I can see where my home point is. So I can see where I need to land. Again, if I get disoriented, I can hit that button, kind of catch my breath, and then follow that back home. That is, again, a really nice feature. Now, DJI has already improved the FPV hobby with their HD transmission system, and this one is actually even better. It's incredibly clear. This 810p picture, I guess going from 720 to 810, I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, but it is. Actually, I think the OcuSync 3.0 is playing into that clarity, but man, it is a phenomenal picture, and the distance that you can get on this thing, the range is unbelievable. Another nice feature of these goggles is I can actually share the video feed with a phone or a tablet. So, if Chris or someone else is flying with me, I can plug in here and they can see what I see. Now, I can't do that with all drones, just with the FPV drone, but that is a pretty awesome feature. Now, if you've been flying drones like these, you know that even if you buy a pre-made drone like this is a great one, the Nazgul, I still have to bind it to my remote. I still have to go into Betaflight and set things up. There's none of that you have to do when you buy this drone. And some people may say, oh, well, they're not going to learn how to do it. It sucks. It's not fun. And it is nice to not have to deal with all of that hassle. Now, you still can go in and change your PIDs, and you can change your rates and things like that with the DJI FPV quad, like you can with this. So it is customizable. You just don't have to go through all of that setup that you do when you buy a traditional FPV quad. Then there's this motion controller, and this is really pretty darn cool, super intuitive. Now, I don't think you'll see races or people ripping freestyle with one of these things. Actually, you can't because it's not going upside down, but this is really darn intuitive and a great way for people to get into the hobby. I think this is something I would like to see on my other DJI drones, right? This is a great way to share with other people that aren't super familiar with that two-handed controller. This is something that I think could impact other drones, maybe not so much the FPV community, but this is a really neat, intuitive remote. Now, when it comes down to it, this drone is changing the hobby. And, whether you like this drone or not, that's a fact. This drone has so much awesome technology built in that things are changing and changing for the better. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that one of those things I mentioned is a negative. You may or may not like this drone. I'm not super sold that it's, what I'm gonna grab to go fly, because it just seems it's a little heavy. It seems a little underpowered maybe for freestyle, but as a long range quad, I don't know that there's something really that I'd rather fly. I've flown some long range and I think that's really pretty fun. This, probably the best long range quad you can get. I don't know that it's a Cinewhoop per se. These giant propellers, not protected. But yeah, you can get some pretty unique footage from this. But when it comes down to it, right now, this is a pretty awesome long-range quad that has a great camera and some pretty powerful motors. So this does a lot of things really well. And while it may not be the FPV quad that some people are looking for, it's going to make those FPV quads that we have right now even better. So what do you guys think? Am I wrong? Right? Did I miss something? Is this somehow a negative for the hobby? Are your drones going to get worse because of this? I mean, the price tag is pretty up there, but you're getting a lot of technology with this thing. So tell me what you think in the comments down below. Anyway, if you haven't already, check us out on halfchrome.com, and we've got a Patreon where we give away a drone at least once a month to one of our lucky subscribers. Don't forget, we've got live streams almost every other weekend. And again, we give away drones and stuff there as well. Plus, it's fun. Come hang out with us. Have a chat. We'll catch you next time. Good luck and happy flying.